So, Ty, there is so much going on right now as we speak related to multiple cases that appear to, at this point, target the former president. A lot of Trump supporters are questioning whether the major step by the FBI to search Mar-a-Lago, the home of a former president, right, an unprecedented move, fits the crime, the potential crime that is put out there of mishandling classified documents. Now, you think there is more here. What do you think this is about, Ty?
Well, I think it's about the underlying big lie and the January 6th. I don't believe, I'm highly confident that it's not about the Public Records Act, but it could easily be about classified documents, quite likely, classified documents that are of great interest to the Bureau and the Justice Department, which they've apparently pressed for. And it also appears to me there's a little bit of a communication breakdown between Trump's attorneys and the Justice Department. I think, as I understand the process, there have been repetitive productions and access to documents allowed to DOJ and FBI officials, but something broke down, and that's a problem for the president.
Well, obviously something really serious broke down. Back to the question I sort of raised to former Director McCabe, they were handing over information. Did they possibly know the needle in the haystack that they were looking for? And then it kept not being in the documents that were produced. I mean, it sounds like what you're saying, Ty, is you think that somehow what they're looking for here may have been classified, may have not been classified, but leads to January 6th, is related to that investigation?
I believe so. I think that's the big enchilada. I think it would be truly bizarre to bring a Public Records Act charge against a former president as the first time in history of indicting a former president, because that is just, that's the type of thing that just doesn't rise to the level of stress for the Constitution and the democracy. But, the January 6th investigation and the big lie and its perpetuation, there's clearly evidence, consequential evidence of criminal activity. And yesterday, I believe Judge Reinhart put his hand to that and agreed.
So you've been talking, Ty, with me about Georgia, other places. You do believe that Trump is facing significant legal exposure on several fronts. But I understand that now, in light of where we are, and this is a different world than it was 25 hours ago, do you think this is leading closer to an indictment of Trump himself now?
Everything that's been done in the last few days, does that mean he'll actually be indicted? You don't know. Will there be negotiations? If the Justice Department decides to indict him, I would assume so, but it's possible that too many bridges have been broken. On the other hand, you mentioned Georgia, and one of the biggest problems in Georgia is the fake electors and the whole process of how the state voting was to be reported to Pence. I think Scott Perry's seizure today is equally interesting because it's an incredible intrusion between two of the pillars of our democracy, the executive branch and Congress. For the executive branch to use its authority to get a search warrant for a congressman's property.
Ty, before we go, one question, because you worked with the president and with the former president, you know him, you've seen him in a legal context, you've seen him with documents. Stephanie Grisham was saying last night as this broke, that she'd been with him where he would, throw things away, put classified documents in his pocket. Do you believe that if there were any document that was some sort of a smoking gun or something related to January 6th that he was aware of, that he actually would have had it at Mar-a-Lago at this point?
It doesn't make him much of a calculating criminal, does it? If he still had possession of it. On the other hand, you can't be sure. He was at least reckless in terms of not following instructions from White House personnel. about tearing up documents and stuff. But at the same time, people would clean out the trash cans every night and tape stuff back together. And I never saw any ketchup on the wall. So, I'm not familiar with the stuff that Stephanie talked about. But yes, I know that, he's sort of dismissive of many protocols. But I didn't ever know him to hide or destroy any documents.
All right. Ty, thank you very much. I appreciate your perspective as always.
You bet, Aaron.